Hi everyone. Welcome to Head in the Cloud, Heart in the Community. This is our special edition for November. This is a little gift for all of our followers. We have a special joining us today for today's episode 7 of Head in the Cloud, Heart in the Community. My name is Holly Lehman. You can find me on Twitter at Lehman__Holly. I would encourage you to follow us and join this fun little virtual travel journey, as I never travel alone. I always say that. I'm here in Seattle, but I am joined by one of my special friends. So Izzy, if you want to introduce yourself and our guest for today.
Absolutely. Hey, Holly, thank you very much for the warm introduction. I'm very excited for this November special. I think it's really cool. We're doing a special edition. And of course, we have the most special guest for today. So let me introduce. So after being the chief ninja cat of the Windows Insider program, she is now leading successfully the Power Platform Advocacy team at Microsoft. She's also an author of several fiction and nonfiction books helping young professionals just like myself. And of course, we all know she runs her own fashion line called Prima Dona. She is the queen of... I hear Poppy?
Yes, sorry. We've got a special guest, Poppy.
The dog. All right, so back to Donna. She's the absolute queen of Let's Do the Thing and of volunTELLING, and she is one of our big inspirations. So I would like to welcome to the show Donna. Hi, and so great to see you.
Thank you too so much for having me. It's such an honor to be on because, as we know, you have only the most inspirational and the most useful sort of guests on your show. So it's such an honor to be crashing for this special episode.
Well, it's a definite honor for us to have you in the lineup. It's we're very excited to hear your story and to hear about you. So Holly, take it away and ask whatever we want to know from Donna.
So Donna, when I think about, the premise of the show and what we're trying to do is really creating that heart and community. And the one thing that I really admire about you is your passion for women in tech. And so I thought, just to jump into it, if you were to, think about the women that are listening today, if you were to give them one tip or trick or piece of advice for either entering the tech world or how you have expounded your tech career, I would love to dig into that and really hit the women in tech followers today with your advice. So what would you say?
I think it's probably going to be the advice that I fell into accidentally in my career. I've been in tech now for 18 years. It's a long time as a software engineer. And I will say it's so important that you are 3 things. 1, get into tech. 2, be yourself very vocally. And 3, stay in tech. And each one is individual. So 1, the industry needs more women just across the board, like whether it's in the US or Western Europe or Africa or Asia, or South America, does not matter. The industry needs more women because we need women to be actually creating the technology that everyone in the world uses, not just using it.
Right.
We've seen so many cases of tech that would have benefited from a woman being on the design team or the development team or the engineering team, etc. We can name maybe hundreds of cases. Just, from how things in the world are designed not for women, keeping women in mind. Like basic women's safety issues would be like the top app or, that kind of thing rather than yet another food delivery app. So there's just so many ways that women can actually make better products for, 51% of the planet who happen to use technology. So that's one. Second thing is that women must be, and all people must be, but women especially who almost feel like they have to hide who they are, you have to be very vocally yourself. And I say that because the more vocally you are yourself, the more it gives permission to everyone around you that they should be themselves. Here's what doesn't help for a woman to join the industry and say, oh, I must act like a dude and have the exact same opinions as dude and think like a dude and behave like a dude so I fit in. Because then there's no point in these women being in the industry in the first place.
Right.
And that doesn't mean, oh, be girly. It just means bring your own unique point of view to the table and be that person. So if you are someone who likes nerdy things, if you like Star Trek, Star Wars, video games, that's awesome and that's wonderful. If you like none of those things like me, that's also wonderful. because by putting up all these boundaries and barriers in tech, saying that if you are in tech, you must be a certain kind of nerd, we keep so many people out. We just keep so many out. This is why throughout my entire career, 18 years, I've been very, very loudly myself. And back in the day, it wasn't actually cool to do that. No. People are like, you know, the way you dress is distracting, your hair is distracting. And the word everyone uses, distracting. And they mean it as something that I'm meant to change, right? People are distracted by me, so the onus is on me to change it so they're not distracted. Because it's a word you use on kids. Like, Holly, you have kids, so you know that so-and-so kid is distracting. That's a signal to parents to change their behavior.
Right.
So when you say it to adults like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I will change who I am to make you all less distracted, meaning less confused about why I'm different than the norm.
Right.
And that, I think, is one of the worst insults you can tell anyone. Is, I find your ex distracting. Whatever it is, it could be your look, it can be your voice, it can be the way you talk, it can be the way you present, it can be the way you handle responding in code reviews. You are distracted because it's your own bias. It's nothing that they're doing. And the fact that we've conditioned ourselves to believe that tech people should be exactly a certain way is super bad. And the only way to change it is for us to be so uniquely ourselves that suddenly there's a tribe of other people who are like, hey, wait a second, I don't have to change. Why would I change? Yeah. Holly hasn't changed. Izzy hasn't changed. Donna hasn't changed. Why would I change?
Yep.
So it's the second thing you can do is be so loudly yourself. People feel that comfortable to do that. And the third thing is you must stay. It is so easy to tap out, right? You make your money, you find all these other avenues because we're highly hireable people. Like, every industry in the world would like to hire us right now and say, oh, come do X or come do Y, come teach, come run a nonprofit, whatever. But it's so important to stay in the industry because the more women leave the industry, the less open and welcoming and inclusive it is. And everyone who's like, why should I stay in an industry that treats me badly? I said, the industry is not this mythical human who rules over us. The industry is a collaboration of people. And the only way to change it is from within. So if you feel that the industry is shitty and toxic, stay in the industry and make it not shitty and toxic.
Yeah.
Right? Change within. Build up a tribe of not shitty, toxic people. I'm like, hello, it's not that hard. It's, you go to a place that's shitty and toxic, be the change you seek. Right. So build up a community like all the people you've interviewed, like a whole bunch of happy victims right there to not be so build up the community, form a tribe, form a society. So when someone is shitty and toxic to you, be like, hey, me and my 13 friends have a lot to say about your topic, right? Yeah. So build up strength in numbers, build your own army. So those pieces of advice I would give everyone. Of course, the very
I love that so much. No, it's a beautiful answer and it's positive and it's what we were looking to share. So thank you. I love that answer so much.
Yeah. Absolutely. So, Donna, thank you, of course, for your insights. And I mean, I know, Donna, you're like everywhere. And I just love when I see you're doing like your sessions from home, you're usually sitting in your wardrobe, right? You have like all your beautiful designs, everything behind you. However, now I see like a sand color with like something blue that replicates to me like a beach and a blue sky. So we do know that you are on Barbados. Think is absolutely wonderful, and it also shows the person you are, right? You have a dream, you have an idea to make something better, and you go for it and you do it. I mean, you packed your bags, you got your visas, you arranged the internet, basically everything to move for a while to Barbados. So please tell us the story. Like, how did the idea come to mind? How did you make it happen? How did you convince the people around you? Like, tell us about it.
So, as we all know, we locked down in March. Microsoft issued the stay-at-home order. All of our travel got canceled. So before this, I was on a plane every 2 weeks, right, to far corners of the world. I've met you both in far corners of the world. Yeah. And when all the travel stopped, I, of course, started doing what everyone else does, which is, okay, cool, I'm going to do all my 1900 conference events from home, from my closet. And because I'm loudly myself, I'm going to do them not at a dining room table, not at like a desk, not with a bookshelf behind me, with impressive looking books, not surrounded by monitors, but in my closet where I do all my fashion design. But everyone has this notion like, oh, my home must look like in a formal office. I'm like, why? You've never had that in your life. If you used to have that, that's great. But don't feel randomly peer pressured into having Star Wars figurines and a bookshelf sort of C++ behind you, right? Everyone like has that. And that's fine because they're like, oh, I want to be as impressive as these people, usually dudes, who look like they belong, right, in tech. So I said, okay, I belong in tech, and all of my meetings are going to happen from my closet with my beautiful dresses. And every single person comments on it. They're like, are you in a closet? I'm like, yeah, it's my design studio. What about those dresses? I made them. They're like, oh my God. And it's a conversation starter. I have the conversation every team meeting. Like, it doesn't matter if they're senior VP or new hire. They all want to talk about it. But I always tell the story because I want everyone to know, be yourself uniquely and loudly. Okay. So this happened. And then around July, I saw on Twitter, the Prime Minister of Barbados had opened up this year-long remote work visa. She, Mia Mottley, Prime Minister Mia Mottley, noticed that her country's economy was like, right? Tourism is a huge thing in Barbados. All of the summer cruise ships and people visiting, that tourism, like, not happening. She said, how can we regain our economy while providing a global service? And she said, why don't we be an ethical, useful WeWork? So let's offer a work visa. People, where they pay a certain amount of money, they come work remotely here on Barbados. They don't pay any Barbados taxes, and we can guarantee safety. Yeah, so we don't pay Barbados taxes. We just pay whatever Washington state taxes we pay. So the deal is you have to clear a COVID test. You have to come here and quarantine and until you take another COVID test, and then you're free to go. They've managed COVID incredibly well. Like, we would never have done this if it was any other country, honestly. They've managed COVID incredibly well. So masks have been mandatory since day one. They have social distance rules from day one. No one here believes COVID is a hoax or made up or overblown, none of it. Out of their 300,000 people, they have had 250 cases of COVID total. And 7 people have died total since March. And they say that's 7 too many. And they have right now 0 COVID cases. And the only time the COVID arrives is someone brings it on an airplane and then they quarantine until they don't have it. So they explained how they're going to do this work visa. And they're like, there's tons of Airbnbs available. Most of the city is outdoors, like coffee shops are all outdoors, bars outdoors, everything's outdoors. So it's set up to be healthy and successful. And they upgraded the internet all over the island. So I'm thinking, I have never, despite all my travel, I've never lived outside the US before. So I forwarded it to my husband. I was kind of kidding, not really. And said, hey, we should do this. And he laughs. He's like, oh God, this is like, the time we're going to move to Paris and start our own fashion company. I'm like, yeah, we did that. He's like, yeah, we did that. He's like, oh, this is like the time we're going to become a fiction writer. I'm like, yeah, we did that too. He's like, I see a pattern. So he's curious about this. I said, yeah. He said, oh, okay. So I think he thought I forgot. So summer came and went. It was fine. And then I said, you know what? We're going to do this. So I did a bunch of research, found some people in Barbados, and realized, first, the tech scene here is major. There's a ton of people working on local startups to solve local problems. Like they have their own version of Uber. They have their own version of like taxis. They have a ton of co-working spaces. And the university has a majorly good computer science department. So I said, you know what? Let's turn this into what I call a workcation, where it's going to be a little bit of work, a little bit of vacation. So we got the work visa for the 2 of us. We found a great Airbnb right on the beach. And I told my boss, I'm like, hey, moving to Barbados. I'm working East Pacific time zones. You will never know I'm gone. He's like, hey, because what are you going to say, right? Our advocacy team is distributed anyway, so it doesn't actually matter that much. So for my job, it matters a lot less. So we just packed up and moved. And the plan is right now, we're here till January, but who knows, working out pretty fine. But while I'm here, I have a whole bunch of gigs. So with the university, I'm putting on an event called Power Barbados.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a Power Platform event for the educators, the students, and small businesses. Yeah, so they learn to use Power Platform to solve their stuff and then upskill themselves. So I said, you know, while I'm here, let's just maximize this experience. I'll be teaching, lecturing, doing in-person workshops, meeting the computer science department, helping with their curriculum, just like putting myself to work while I'm here, as well as just doing my job.
Well, and it shows that you can work remotely and think outside of the box, right? Yeah. I think that that's what this whole work from home has made all of us think about. You know, that's how this whole head in the cloud, heart in the community got started. It was, let's think outside of the box while we're working from home, and how can we better what our jobs are day in day. So, you know, you've mentioned a lot about your fashion line, so you knew this question was going to come up.
Yeah.
I've watched it evolve over the last few months, and I would love, as we're wearing our Prima Dona hoodies, you know, when you first started, it was mainly dresses, and now I've seen you are expanding to hoodies and men's shirts and unisex shirts, and I mean, it just keeps growing. And so I would love for you to tell us about the Prima Dona story, why it's expanding and evolving and ever changing. And then I would love to hit on the ethical background of what you're doing, where all the money goes to. I mean, when I got my package, I was so enamored because it was beautifully packaged, a handwritten note. I mean, it was just so, you know, really thoughtful, and it was showing your appreciation for all of your customers and the patrons that are supporting this Prima Dona effort. So like I said, tell us why it's expanding and evolving, the background of, you know, how you're finding the tailors and the beautiful different, you know, materials that you're using, and then the ethical background of where all the money's going and what the effort is.
Yeah, so Prima Dona, I've always wanted to start a fashion line, always, and I thought I would do it once I retire from tech. It was always like, okay, I'll retire from tech at age like 60 and then be like, you know, these eccentric old fashion designers who's like a little crazy, but also some kind of funny. And then, you know, just I turned 40 last year, or this year. And last year, I was watching so many people around me just fulfill their dreams. So many women around me, like most of my network are women over 40. And every single one of them goes out there and pursues their dreams, whatever that is. Some people, it's going to law school, you know, later in life. Some people, it's going to med school. Some it's having a family. Others are starting a business. Some it's quitting a business. And the advice every single person gave me is don't wait. Every single person said the same thing over and over again, which is my biggest mistake was waiting too long. And I realized for every regret I've ever had, it's always that. It's never been, oh, you did it too soon. That's literally never been the case for me ever. It's always, why did I wait so long to speak in public? Why did I wait so long to write my first nonfiction book? Why did I wait so long to get a traveling job? These are all things I wanted, but I always felt like I'm not ready yet, or I haven't earned it yet, right? There's this mysterious sense that we have of, I haven't earned that right. Who decides that? Again, there's not some mythical principle of the school called life who decides that, I know at grade 12, you're now earned the right to go off campus for lunch. Like that's not, but you know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
Like teaches us you earn things at certain ages, like you earn the right to get a driver's license at 16. You earn the right to vote at 18. Life do not work like that.
Yeah.
You don't earn the right because you wait X number of years and wait for so-and-so to have their turn. It does not work that way. So I said, what am I waiting till 60 for to earn the right to start my own business? So last year, I finally got over, honestly, debilitating imposter syndrome, it was debilitating. Mm-hmm. It was like, Donna, you are stupid. There's no way you're going to figure out how to run a business. You're a software engineer. You're an author. You're a creative. How can you learn to run a business? Like, running a business is serious business. And many people are like, yeah, running a business is a lot of work, blah, 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 blah. But everyone's like, but you can do it. There's maybe 8 billion entrepreneurs on earth. You can do it. And it actually, traveling to Africa, that really helped me a lot. Everyone there is entrepreneur. It doesn't matter what your day job is. You could work at Microsoft, but you also have a side hustle. where you're earning an income. And I watch all these people, like young people, and they never question that they can be their own business owner because it's just ingrained to you that's something you do. And to me, it was ingrained that it's not something you do unless you went to B school, unless you have a lot of money that you can lose, until you have a businessy mindset, unless your parents. So I realized we're all humans. We all have the exact same set of skills, or the ability to gain the same set of skills. I am opting out because of some weird voice in my head that's not even real. So I said, okay, I'm going to do this. And once I decided I'm going to start, I want to have a profitable business before I turn 40. So just set this goal. So last year, okay, I better start and get profitable like now if I want to have a profitable business before I turn 40. So I reached out to a few friends of mine, and this is where my firm belief that you need a textable tribe, and not just a textable tribe who will kick your ass, really matters. So I told some friends of mine, and they said, okay, we're going to have a launch party on August 15th last year, 2019. And I'm like, it's June. They said, that's right. It's 2.5 months away. That's forever. So we're going to launch party August 15th. And your clothes are going to be in this rental company in Seattle called Armoire. So we've ordered 50 pieces. This is my friend, the CEO of Armoire. And she said, we're going to order 50 pieces, and we're going to have a launch party, and there will be champagne. And that's what's happening. So you should figure out your business part of the business. What did I just do? This is the worst mistake I've ever made in my life. And you go through this, it's the wave of terror. You're like, yeah, oh no, yeah, oh no. You go through this where you're convinced, of course you can do it. This is going to be fine. And 2 minutes later, you're like, I'm the stupidest person who's ever lived on the planet. What audacity do I have thinking I have a right to do this? Then I just have to talk myself off the ledge. I'm like, no, Donna, just get it together. This is you. This is text the textable tribe. Be like, I'm having a freak out moment. They're like, you'll be fine. Don't worry about it. No, I know, really, I'm going to just cancel the whole thing and leave the country. No, you're not.
Super betas.
Yes. So this is when my business partner, Jeremiah, who had already tapped to do this with me, I'm like, you're doing it with me. He's like, I don't know anything about fashion. I'm like, you know everything about business. He's like, this is true. So he went through his own imposter, and he's like, I know nothing about fashion. What is a notion? What is pattern making? I'm like, I know all of that. You don't need to worry. And he's like, how can I be the see anything of a fashion company when I don't know anything about the topic? I'm like, do you know how many people are the COOs of Microsoft without knowing anything about tech? All of them. So,
but I think what you're saying is so important. When we talk about a tribe, it's about finding people that balance each other, finding people that have the skills that you don't, but the skills that you also offer. It becomes this handshake relationship where you balance each other out, and that's what creates success.
It really does. And your tribe is not scared of the same things as you.
Yeah.
Right. It's really important. It's like being a kid again, where your friends group, you need someone who's not scared of the same stuff as you.
Yeah.
And that was really what did it. Having a tribe of people around me who are like, I had a friend who's good at throwing events. I had a friend who's good at fashion, a friend who's good at operation stuff, a friend who's good at payments, friends who's good at shipping. And every time it was like one-line questions. How do I do this? What's the way you ship things to people? Oh my God, we're going to die. And it really was that helped me start Prima Dona. And my vision has always been, how can I create jobs for women? Right. It comes back to the women in tech thing, but it really is a women in jobs thing, where I believe women should have their own money. It's just a belief I have. Every woman in my family has had her own money. My grandmother owned her own business. All of my aunts, moms, everybody, they all have always had jobs. So no stay-at-home types in my family. Nothing wrong with that. But women in my family have always had money. It's just like a fundamental principle. So I want women all over the world to have their own money. And not for any other reason other than it gives you this intense sense of power that really makes you believe you can do anything. And it doesn't matter what you do with that money. It could be send your kids to college. It can be spend it on, horses and cars. Like, it doesn't matter. Give it all to charity, but you should be able to make that choice yourself. So I thought with Prima Dona, here is the first time in my entire life that I'm creating jobs. like that I choose, right? Working at Microsoft is wonderful because I don't get to create jobs. I don't get to decide we're going to hire 10 people for this. I get to hire, but someone tells me we have enough budget to hire 10 people to do this job. But for the first time in my life, I was able to create jobs. And I said, you know what? This is what I'm going to spend my energy and my power with. I'm going to hire women all over the world who are experts in tailoring, and I'm going to pay them Seattle salaries. And that is the deal. So it doesn't matter where you live, you get paid Seattle salaries to do tailoring for me. So you could be in Lagos, Nigeria, Jakarta, LA, outside Joburg, Woodinville, and now Barbados. But you make Seattle salaries because, we get paid for remote work the same wherever we might live. So why not my workers? So that's kind of like the origin story of Prima Dona. You're asking about the evolution. We evolve because we co-create with customers, right? Okay. I'm not so arrogant that I'm like, I am Diane von Furstenberg. I know exactly what I'm supposed to do for 8 years. Like I work in software. We pivot as the audience needs us to. That's so it's right. I've always believed in this, like from the Windows Insider program till now, you create what the audience needs. Your audience will tell you. It's not like it's a secret.
But that's why we have Moneyball. That's why we have a planning cycle. That's why we look at prioritization, because the people that are behind the desk coding don't always know how it's being used in real life. So when we do the Moneyball effort, the Insiders program, things like that, then we come back and say, oh, here's what they really need. And here's what the prioritization needs to flip and change a bit. So it's taking that outside perspective and then shifting your own work aspect, if you will. Yeah.
We always say this in the Insider program. I said we fundamentally changed the way we used to make and ship Windows. Before we used to create for, now we co-create with. So Prima Dona has always been about co-creation. And after maybe the 30th person pinged me about dresses and said, "Hey, how come you don't make anything for dudes?" We're like, I think the universe is telling us something. Write that down, Jeremiah.
For dudes.
Okay. Yeah. And now we're screwed because I don't know how to do. He doesn't know anything about fashion. We're like, uh-oh. He's like, you've never made menswear? I'm like, why would I make menswear? He's like, he said, I don't know anything about menswear. I only have free hoodies. And that's when the idea happened. He's like, the only thing I own are free hoodies and free t-shirts. I'm like, why are you wearing free hoodies? And he's like, you get them at career fair. I'm like, where do you even buy a hoodie? He's like, they're all so boring. So he's like, what is the point of buying a hoodie when you get the free one at the career fair and the ones you get in the store are just plain gray, plain black, plain blue? And I said, how come no one's made good hoodies? He's like, I do not know. And then we're like, why has no one made good hoodies? And that was it. It was us having a major fight about why no one's ever done this. So we said, you know what? All of our tech people, we're all at home. We all wear hoodies like all the time, whether you're at home, on a call, running out to do errands, at a conference, whatever. It's just part of the wardrobe. I refuse to wear mine because they're free from Ignite, and I won't wear it because it's white. It's like a lab coat. I won't wear it. And I said, okay, let's do a designer hoodie. This may end horribly. So we made two, made one in his size, one in my size. And I'm like, okay, let's wear this. I didn't think I would wear it, but I wore it all the time. And he wore his all the time. And random people are like, where'd you get that hoodie? Like, that's a really nice hoodie. Do you sell them? We're like, no. And then he, who has never gotten a compliment in his life on his clothing, is getting compliments on his hoodie.
It's because he was wearing all the free hoodies. That's why.
That's right. He's getting compliments all day. Like, where'd you get that hoodie? And at the Build conference this year, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to wear this on camera and see what happens. And with the plan that if this goes well, we're going to make and ship them via our friends in Johannesburg who initially just tailored the first one. And we told them, stand by. Let's see what happens. This may end horribly and maybe no one wants one. But my God, it turned out people wanted these hoodies. So not only did people want the hoodies, they're like, I want more colors. I want bigger pockets. I want this. I want that. We're like, notes.
Yeah.
Notes. And so it was really just listening to our customers. People
actually, when I got my hair done this weekend, she asked me, she goes, you had on this really cool hoodie in a picture. It was really unique. Where did you get it? And so we talked about Head in the Cloud, Heart in the Community, and that we were interviewing you. And she's like, wait, so your friend, isn't it cool? So it is a very unique piece. So.
And the fact that no one in the fashion industry has done it, because they don't listen. They don't believe in co-creating. Fashion industry is in God mode, where they're like, we will create and you will consume. It actually is like the Devil Wears Prada. We decide, and we just like agree because we think we don't know better. We're like, if we can decide every single thing about our tech, why not about our fashion? So we run our fashion company the way we would a tech company. We co-create with, we iterate fast, we make very small batch things. The reason we don't do inventory is we're not arrogant. We're not so arrogant that we're like, oh, we should make 5 million hoodies and assume people. No, let's make 2, see if people like them. If they like them, we can make more. There's lots of downsides where, it takes a long time, but there's more upsides. The only downside, honestly, is that it takes a long time. All the upsides, we pay our tailors Seattle wages to make each one. Each one is made as it's ordered. We waste 0. Each one is unique and custom. There's only going to be X many in the world. Once we run out of fabric, we're done. Yeah. And it's one of those things where we don't have to do any weird marketing because we don't have any inventory. So you're not going to see ads. Like, you're just not going to get any weird marketing, spam mail, none of it, because we have nothing to sell. It's not like there's an inventory sitting there, and
companies need to get rid of it.
Yeah, right. They need to get rid of it for the holidays. So then we get spam every day. We're like, we're never going to have a sale because we don't have anything to sell you.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely worth to wait.
Exactly.
Yeah, so especially when you know the story. And I just love it also now that we even hear like more background to the story, right? Like how the idea started and the evolution of Prima Dona. So speaking of that, Donna, I mean, you really truly inspire a global community. You inspire people from all corners of the world in all like different job roles. So whether if it's like deep technical or non-tech at all. I just lost your camera for a moment.
Yep.
Back?
You're
back.
Okay.
Yes, you're back. Awesome. There you are. So just to go back to the inspirational part. So you really move people, like you inspire them. You have like your special Donna powers. It's just like, or when you say something, or when you're on stage, when you like tell people to do the thing. I mean, it's something that you just need to know. You're like a real inspirational person. However, what I would love to know is like, who is for you the person in your life? So it can be in the past or it can be today. Who for you is like the person that like really moves Donna or that like inspires you to do the thing?
I would say there's 2 distinct people who have impacted me a lot. The first is my dad. He is very much the guy who's like, why not you exactly? I don't understand the question, right? Where when I was going to college, just starting, I hadn't even gone yet. We were reading the paper. This is in 1998, so a long time ago, reading the Wall Street Journal. And I had not yet gone to college. I had just gotten accepted into University of Michigan. We're reading the paper in Wall Street Journal. It says Larry Page and Sergey Brin start a company called Google, internet company called Google. And they were on track to become like millionaires at the time, right? Adorable. And my dad reads the paper, turns it around and says, Larry Page is a University of Michigan graduate. And I'm like, He's like, if he can start an internet company, you can start an internet company and be a millionaire. I'm like, Dad, I think he knows something about computers. He's like, he wasn't born knowing about computers. If he can do it, you can do it. Your goal is to be more famous than Larry Page. So never mind, we don't know this man, right? It's not like he lives next door, right? It was like this personal thing. And I completely forgot about the whole thing until recently. And my dad is constantly like, are you more famous than Larry Page yet? I'm like, no. And he's like, that's happier. So he's like that kind of person. He doesn't believe in boundaries. He doesn't believe like where you come from determines like your level of success. He's just that kind of guy who has no problem stating audacious things. And I realize it's contagious. Being audacious is contagious because if you say things like this, you're like, Holly, why aren't you training to be a principal program manager of Azure Compute? You'll be like, I never thought about it. I'm like, well, you should
Right.
be doing that. What is wrong with you? Like, hello, you should be like, planning to give a talk on that in a year at next Ignite 2021. If you're not on stage explaining how to do this, you failed. Hello. So my dad would be like that. When you say outrageous things, others are like, oh my God, I should get on that.
Yeah.
Right? And you don't know why, but you do. So he's one. And the second other person is my mentor, who's Sangeeta Mudnal. She worked at Microsoft for a long time, long time, 20 plus years. And she was someone who was, a director of engineering when I joined the company. I was so shy to approach her, and I asked for 15 minutes of her time to get her opinion. And really, I was just looking for her opinion to tell me what I thought, which was, I don't belong in tech. I went to her and said, I don't think I belong here because it's all dudes and they're all into nerd stuff. And I care about Windows and I want to make technology for everybody, but I just don't think I have what it takes to cut it in this industry. And she said, what does it take to cut it in this industry? And I said, I don't know, like tech stuff and being a nerd and being good at talking. And she said, so these are things that you don't think you can learn? I said, I don't know if I can learn them or not. She's like, maybe you should try to learn them before you decide you don't belong in this industry. And then she gave me homework. Yeah. She's like, in a month, you're going to come back and tell me what you did to get better at learning about X, Y, and Z. I'm like, I was here to tell me that I don't belong and I should go join a nonprofit. Like, yeah, it's not happening. So that was that. But she was the first person who in the industry so blatantly believed in me, like blatant belief. And I realized that's the other thing. When like, especially people who you look up to and trust, they're not lying to you. You're like, I guess I believe in me too. It's contagious, right?
But I want to touch on something you said. Yeah. You said something, Donna, that I'll pull in from the last episode with Stephen Rose. Is, he said, just ask. If you have somebody that has a job that you want to go after, just ask them for their time and have a reason behind it, not just, I want to buy you coffee. Yeah. So one thing is just ask. The worst thing they're going to say is no. And then what happens? Nothing, right? And the other thing is do the work. That's the other thing that Stephen said that you're amplifying is if you ask a mentor for help, come with an exact ask that's going to benefit you both. Go at it as a mentor. And then be willing to do the homework, which is yeah. So I think it's interesting that within the different episodes, we're all saying the same thing. We just need to do the action behind it. And you keep commenting on, the Windows Insiders program. And this leads me to one of our last questions of the episode. With so many people out there, especially now, we're at home, we're thinking about what's the next thing in our career. We're a bit scared to make that change because everything's so uncertain right now. And you were known as the Windows Insiders person. You were the queen bee, and you made a huge transition from Windows Insiders to now being, the cloud developer advocate for Windows Power Apps and Power Platform. Tell us a bit about making the change in your career and why you're so passionate around Power Apps. I think that would be a great way to close the show. What do you think?
So insidering was fun. Right? It was really cool. It was a great job. I love traveling around the world, meeting so many people who use Windows to make the world, their world's a better place. But while I was doing that, I realized there's something in the community that I love more than anything. And that is people who want to get better jobs or help others get better jobs. And there was, it all happened like at the Ignites when I was traveling. I met so many people who are like, I love Windows. This is so cool. How can we be doing more to help upskill other people who aren't as technical as us? People ask me this in every city I went to. It was like Johannesburg and Lagos and Nairobi and Jakarta. And I thought, what a cool idea that people are doing incredibly well, but they want to do more to help their communities also learn tech. So when I learned about Power Platform and I was approached to head up advocacy for Power Platform, I said, how about I do this, not with the focus of just upskilling people in companies, but of upskilling people who don't think they belong in this industry. Because I'm a firm believer that the more you feel like you don't belong in this industry, the more the industry needs you. um, right? Because you're a scarcity. You're a freaking endangered species around here. So, I mean, that's just true, right?
Yeah.
And the people who are like, oh, I don't belong in tech, I'm like, tell me more, because I think we need you. There's no way we can build tech for 8 billion people with like 1 million nerds sitting in Seattle deciding what that is. That's not right. So it comes back to what I said about women in tech. It's, I believe more people need to be involved in the process of making tech. And there's no better place to start than Power Platform, because you're making tech for your own company to solve your problem. So dear finance people, learn tech to solve finance problem. Dear operations people, learn tech to solve operation problems. You don't want Donna solving finance problems. It's not something that you trust me. You don't want this. So, you know, I fell in love with that idea, like it's literally a tool that helps people upskill themselves to go pursue better job opportunities. So it was really easy to let go. Like, it was hard to let go of insidering because of the community. But when the next thing is so obviously what you're supposed to be doing, it's very easy to move on and to go pursue that thing. But there's always this feeling within you that you're like, this feels right. And I had that feeling, like, this feels right. This feels like what it lines up with my mission, my vision, my values, that this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And this is the first time in my career, 18 years, that I truly believe I'm doing the job that really lines up with who I am fundamentally as a person, right? If I'm creating jobs in my personal life, working on creating jobs in my professional life, it really does bring those two worlds together. But a lot of people are like, how do I do that? How do I get a job like yours, where my mission and vision line up with my day job? I'm like, time.
Yeah.
It's time. It's not like a lost penny. It's not going to show up one day. It really is. You have to figure out what that rock climb and that journey looks like. Most people have no idea what their mission and vision are. They have absolutely no idea. And because it's not just buried in there somewhere. It's, you have to create it.
You have to go look.
Yeah, you have to go look, right? You have to do the thing. You have to go out there and go on like this big expedition to try things, build your skills, and realize my skills are best used solving this problem here. Like, identify the problem you want to devote the rest of your life to solving. And it doesn't matter if you do that for 5 years, you're like, this ain't the problem. That's okay. But go pursue the problem, right? Everyone's like, oh, how can I be seen in the world? I'm like, figure out the problem you're trying to solve. Forget about being seen. Forget about being known. Forget about being famous. Forget about having a brand. Figure out what is the problem you want to solve for people. And once you identify the problem and your specific skill set to that problem, then you'll know what your mission and vision are.
But also, going back to the first thing you said when you talked about having a textable tribe, I have people that are I'm always telling people I'm looking for the next opportunity, the next thing. And people have said, aren't you worried your manager's going to hear that? I'm like, no, because if I'm not looking for the next thing, I've stunted myself. And so it's using that community, it's using that network, it's telling people your passion and what you're good at, and then having someone knock on your door like they did for Power Apps, right? Because they see like your skills fit this role, and together we can be successful. And so I think that pulling in the beginning to the end of this episode is so important, because your tribe is very powerful. And I think you're sharing with us amazing insights, and I'm so grateful for what you're sharing with us and the audience that we get to hit with your inspirational qualities and the information that you're sharing, Donna.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
So I have homework for everyone. I have homework for both of you.
Okay, what is it?
Ready? All right. I would love for everyone to think about what problem in the world they would like to solve in 2021. Like, it doesn't matter what the problem is. It can be something incredibly small, like the internet in my building sucks. Or it can be like, hey, I want to figure out how we can bring more remote education to be better. Like, I don't know, whatever the issue is, you've noticed a problem, some sort of inequality, some sort of horribly idiotic thing in 2020. We've seen a lot, right? The list of 2020 complaints we have is long. What's the problem? And what are you going to do about it in 2021, right? So just identify the problem And your brain is really smart. It'll automatically start coming up with solutions that you want to execute. I'm not saying you need to solve the problem in 2021, but in 2021, you should know what is the problem that you would like to solve.
I think that's great. Great homework. So everybody who's watching, everybody who's listening, make sure you're going to do your homework. So Donna, just before we head back to Holly to close off the show, I do want to know, are you ever going to go back to Seattle, or are you going to stay on Barbados forever?
No, I'm going to go back to Seattle. Seattle's home. I have too many people. You know, I do love my work. I like going into the office. I like seeing people. I love when we have like a conference or an event, hanging out with all of the Channel 9 people, et cetera, et cetera. So I will be home. When? Yeah. We have no idea. It's probably January.
What's the one thing you really miss from Seattle right now? Like if you could be somewhere right now in Seattle, where would it be?
It would be my people.
Yeah.
I miss just a normal day at the office. Right before we came here,
yes,
Channel 9 Studios shooting some content that'll be out soon. And it felt wonderful to be there with the Channel 9 folks and my team. And we were socially distanced in corners of the room as we like one at a time go in the studio and shoot our content. And it felt good and it felt wonderful. And no matter what happens in, you know, this crazy COVID world, I will never get used to working remotely 100% of the time and never seeing my people in person. Like I would
agree.
Yeah.
I will agree with that 100%. Well, Donna, thank you for being on our show. It was a blessing and a pleasure to have you. I am honored for your time and all that you're sharing with us. So we will be going live with this episode very soon, and we can't wait to share it with all of our audience. So just to end the show.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Donna.
And everybody do your homework.
Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
If I start getting softer, just be like,
Sounds.